Welcome back to Science to Sleep By. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine standing on the moon. No wind, no sound, no warmth. Just silence stretching endlessly across a grey, lifeless horizon. Tonight, we are going to drift through the quiet reality of Earth's closest neighbor, not as a symbol of romance or mystery, but as it truly is a place shaped by violence, isolated, and extremes beyond anything we experience on Earth. This is not the moon of poetry, this is the moon as scientists understand it. From Earth, the moon appears serene, softly glowing in the night sky, a constant companion to humanity for thousands of years. Cultures across the world have looked up at it and found meaning, rhythm, and comfort in its steady presence. But that calm glowing disk hide a brutal reality. The moon reflects sunlight but produces none of its own warmth. Its pale light is simply borrowed energy bouncing off a surface covered in fine, jagged dust and ancient rock. There are no oceans, no clouds, no movement of weather to soften its appearance. Everything you see from the earth is frozen in time. Scientists describe the moon as geologically quiet today, but it past tells a story, one of catastrophic impact and molten jaws. Its surface, marked by countless craters, is a permanent record of billions of years of collisions. Unlike Earth, where erosion and weather erase scars, the moon keeps everything. There is no atmosphere to blur the horizon, no air to scatter light. Shadows are sharp, pitch black, and unforgiving. The line between light and darkness is absolute. And yet, from here on earth, we never see that harshness. Distance softens reality. The moon becomes a symbol rather than a place. One of the most defining and deadly features of Earth is its complete lack of atmosphere. There is no oxygen to breathe, no pressure to sustain life, no protective layer shielding the surface from the vacuum of space. If a human were suddenly exposed to the lunar environment without protection, survival would be measured in seconds. Without atmospheric pressure, bodily fluids begin to behave unpredictably. Oxygen rapidly leaves the bloodstream. Consciousness fades quickly, not dramatically, but quietly and inevitably. But even beyond human survival, the absence of atmosphere reshapes everything about the moon. There is no wind to move dust, no sound can travel across its surface. If you stood there and shouted, your voice would vanish into nothingness. Scientists often describe the moon as silent, not peaceful silence, but absolute silence, the kind that comes from the absence of any medium to carry vibration. Even sunlight behaves differently, with no ears to diffuse it. Sun appears harsh and unfiltered, blindingly bright against a sky that remains completely black even during daytime. On Earth, temperature changes feel gradual. Day turns into night, season shifts, and even extreme climates still exist within a survivable range. The moon is different. Without an atmosphere to trap heat or disturb it evenly, temperature swings are extreme and unforgiving. During lunar daytime, the surface can reach the temperatures hot enough to boil water, but as night falls, those same areas plunge into deep cold, far colder than the coldest place on the earth. And lunar days are long. One full day night cycle on the moon lasts about 29 Earth days. That means 2 weeks of continuous sunlight followed by 2 weeks of complete darkness. During those long nights, The cold seeps into everything. There is no air to carry warmth, no ocean to store heat, just radiation escaping into space. For astronauts and future explorers, managing temperature is not difficult, it's a constant battle against an environment that offers no balance, no moderation, and no forgiveness. On Earth, we are protected. Our atmosphere burns up meteorites before they can reach the ground. Our magnetic field deflects harmful radiation. The moon has neither. Its surface is constantly exposed to micrometeorite impacts, tiny fragments of rock traveling at incredible speeds. Individually, they may seem insignificant, but over time they grind the surface into a fine, abrasive powder known as lunar regolith. This dust is unlike anything on Earth. It's sharp, jagged, and electrostatically charged. It clings to surface, damages equipment, and poses serious risk to human health if inhaled. But the danger doesn't stop there. Radiation from the sun and deep space reaches the moon without obstruction. Over time, this exposure can damage biological tissue and increase the risk of serious illness. For long term human presence, shielding becomes not just important but essential. The moon is not just empty, it is exposed. The moon's gravity is only about one sixth of Earth's. At first, this might sound like an advantage. Movement becomes easier, jumps become higher, every step feels lighter. But over time, low gravity takes a toll on the human body. Muscles weaken, bones lose density, the cardiovascular system adapts in ways that can make returning to Earth difficult. Even basic coordination begins to change. Astronauts who have spent time in reduced gravity environment often required rehabilitation to readjust to Earth's condition. And then there is the dust with low gravity particles kicked up from the surface don't settle quickly. They linger, drifting slowly, finding their way into equipment and habitats. The moon may seem gentle in its pull, but its effects are anything but simple. Standing on the moon means being farther from the earth than any natural environment humans have either inhabited. There is no immediate rescue, no quick return. Communication takes time, and every action must be carefully planned. The physiological effects of such isolation are profound. Scientists studying long duration space missions have found that confinement, distance, and the absence of natural environments can deeply affect human well being. On the moon, Earth would appear small, fragile, suspended in darkness. There would be no weather, no wildlife, no familiar sounds, just the hum of equipment and the awareness of being completely alone in a vast, indifferent universe. Despite everything the radiation, the temperature extremes, the vacuum, the isolation humans continue to look towards the moon. Not because it is easy, but because it is close. It offers a testing ground for survival beyond Earth, a place to learn how to live in the environments that were never meant for us. Scientists see the moon as a stepping stone, a place to develop technologies, understand long term space habitation, and prepare for journeys even farther away. The harshness of moon is not a barrier, it's a teacher. Every challenge it presents forces us to innovate, adopt, and rethink what it means to survive. At first glance, the moon feels like a place where nothing happens, a frozen world locked in stillness, unchanged and unmoving. But that sense of calm is misleading. What makes the moon so hostile is not just what is present, but what is missing. On Earth, time reshapes everything. Wind smooth mountains, water curves, valleys, and life itself constantly alters the landscape. But on the moon, time behaves differently. Without air, water, or biological activity, change happens at a place that feels almost invisible. Yet, when it does occur, it is sudden, violent, and permanent. A single meteoroid impact can transform a quiet stretch of lunar surface into a crater in an instant, throwing debris across vast distances. And because there is no atmosphere to slow it down, even a small rock carries enormous energy when it strikes. Scientists study lunar samples have found that the surface is constantly being gardened by these impacts, churned and overturned over billions of years. This means the ground itself is unstable in a way that is difficult to perceive, a shifting layer of fine dust and shattered rock that tells a story of endless bombardment. Even footprints left by the astronauts decades ago may remain for thousands, perhaps millions of years, undisturbed by wind or rain. That permanence might sound peaceful, but it also reflects a deeper truth. The moon does not heal, every scar remains, every collision is preserved. Time on moon is not a gentle force of renewal. It is slow accumulation of damage, and yet there is another layer to this stillness that scientists find fascinating. Because the moon lacks atmosphere and geological recycling, it acts like a time capsule, preserving information about the early solar system that has long been erased from Earth. Ancient rocks, untouched for billions of years, hold clues about planetary formations, cosmic impact, and violent history of our celestial neighborhood. In this way, the moon is both hostile and valuable, a place where danger and discovery exist side by side. But for humans, that stillness can be unsettling. There are no signs of life, no movement in the distance, no shifting patterns to catch the eye. The horizon remains unchanged, the sky eternally black, the stars unblinking. It is a kind of stillness that can feel overwhelming, even disorienting, because it offers no sense of progression or comfort. On earth, we are used to subtle changes, the rustling of leaves, the passing of clouds, the rhythm of day and night. On the moon, those cues are absent. Time stretches silent and indifferent, reminding us that this is not a world designed for living beings. It is a place where existence feels suspended, where every moment is defined not by motion but by absence of it. And in that absence, the true nature of moon reveals itself not as a peaceful companion in the sky, but as a stark, unchanging witness to the passage of cosmic time. So, the next time you look up at the moon glowing softly in the night sky, remember that what it truly is: a silent world, a hostile world, a place of extremes and ancient scars, and yet it remains one of humanity's greatest ambition. Not because it welcomes us, but because it doesn't. And in that challenge, we continue to reach for it. Good night.